responses from Clive Davis, and I don't even know. And, I'm reading the bit, but I love that naivety. And that's the beginnings of stuff. You got to have that childlike Look, you have to be a man as we're older. Man, you got to think of the business. But that childlike drive.
It's a great thing you're hitting on. It's a great thing you're hitting on, because I think sometimes what happens is fear steps in. Mm-hmm. Well, I can't do that. What if I go and I'm going to look like an idiot? Yeah. But when you don't know, and there is no fear, and there is no, you know what I call it? Resistance. There's no resistance. Yeah. There's no, I'm not going to take no for an answer. I got shoot off, so I'm going to find a funny way to tickle this guy's funny bone, or, kind of show a sense of humor. And it worked.
It worked.
It fucking worked.
It definitely worked. And he said it worked because of the same reasons why you described it. If I would have thought it out, if I would have think,
because we overthink everything, and it's fear. We can't do that. Yeah. Somebody's going to laugh at me. I'm going to look stupid. I can't stop. Yeah. Stop and just live. Yeah. What other people's opinion is of you is none of your business. And you've got to really, really believe that and live by that.
I've been living by it for a long time.
I'm just saying, to anybody. I mean, that's really the way, because no matter what it is, there's always going to be a reason why you don't.
Okay, now I'll give you another funny story. So now, and this is the early years, and Dennis is a part of this one too. So now we're playing around, and it was those times where you would get a gig. First of all, they paid you no money. I'm playing like the Troubadour, the Roxy, the Whiskey A Go-Go, and they got 9 bands. It could be a Tuesday night, a Wednesday night. You get 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You got to wait outside, carry your own gear. Everybody, the guys, and
it's like a showcase.
Yeah, we're making our way through. And
they do it in comedy as well.
Make a little noise.
Except there's less equipment.
Yeah, right. And, you're young enough where you don't give a damn about the money.
You can say.
Okay. And all this kind of stuff. And I'm out there for a purpose, and I'm hitting the streets, and I'm getting, well received as best as you can. Finally, I get this manager, this little Irish dude I just talked to last week. I'm still friends with him today. His name's Tom Sweeney. He goes, I want to take you. The name of the band was The Rise at the time. Me, Dennis, 2 guys from Sweden, and a drummer. And it was a good rocking band. So he goes, can I be your manager? He goes, I represent one guy. It was this guy named Arthur Lee. He was famous for a band called Love from the 60s. He was like Jimi Hendrix's friend. By this time, he was,
kind of passed.
But in the underground world, Robert Plant liked him. Mm-hmm. He went on to really still play festivals and stuff. He goes, I represent Arthur Lee. He's kind of like from my generation, but I'd like to take you on. So he takes me on, and I come to find out that his brother is a wealthy dude who owns this club, 2 clubs in Hollywood. One called at the time Bar One, which was like a top, they wait in line for hours to get, the fit people. It plays music. It's got dance, and their stars are in there and this and that. So I ended up doing the show early on, Ruby Tuesdays. I'll tie 2 stories together. And I walk in there the week before, and Prince was in there, and David Lee Roth, and all these actors. Mickey Rourke was hanging out there a lot. I got a couple funny stories about him, but we don't have to talk. So I'm going to play at this Ruby Tuesdays. I'm going to open up for Vince Neil, because Vince
Neil from Motley Crue, right?
And I never, I respect all your Motley Crue fans. I never was one. I'm not a fan of Motley Crue, but they've succeeded very much, and God bless them. So I'm just going to go do my show. I'm going to do 45 minutes to an hour, and then Vince is going to come on with his band after Motley Crue, and he put together and rock the house. Get there, the place is packed. Prince walks in. David Lee Roth is there again. It's kind of that crew. There was Quincy Jones. I mean, Tony Curtis. This collection of these different kind of stars and stuff. It was weird. So I get up there, and we did a good show. Could have went mediocre. It was one of those nights where it's like, wow, that was good. With the material I had, I give it a 7 and an 8. It was pretty good. Vince Neil walks up to Tom Sweeney and goes, if you ever, he's got this little voice, you ever put this fucker on in front of me again, I'll never fucking come here. Because he can't, even back then, look, he's multi-gazillionaire, sure. But he cannot sing.
We've seen it now. And I don't know if that's age and not really taking care of yourself. Certainly there was a lot of partying. We all saw the dirt.
He hated all of us. We couldn't. Yeah. They didn't let him play there again. I ended up doing 3 because he already had success with mine. So the story that I get to, this is one of the turning stones where Joey went, tears in my eyes. A guy named Charlie Miner is in the audience, besides Prince and all these. And the owner, who's the brother of my manager, walks me over, and he goes, this is the guy that just sang. And this guy, Charlie Miner, he was probably 55 at the time, real hip. You could tell he's really liked. And there's Gina Davis and Mickey Rourke's at the table. He goes, listen, he's whispering in my ear. He goes, that was fantastic. You know who I am? He goes, I'm Charlie Miner. He's got an ego, you won't believe. He goes, I discovered, I helped with Springsteen and Janis and all. He goes, you're gonna be something. He says, I don't know what it is, but you're gonna be something. And I look at him, I go, I ain't gonna be your boyfriend, you know. He thought that was hysterical. I go, that's fine, Charlie, but I'm not gonna be your boyfriend. You understand that? And that must have broke the ice. He goes, listen, kid. He goes, because I was a kid compared to him. He goes, you're going to come to my house. He's pointing my finger, and he's drunk. And I mean, this is a party. There's 1,000 people. He goes, you're going to come to my house this Sunday in Malibu. I'm having a party. You tell your whole band, you got a girlfriend? You got a girlfriend? And I go, yeah. Bring your girlfriend. Here's the address. Writes it down. I'm going to sign papers with you. I'm going to be your manager. I also edit Hits Magazine. I'm going to help you with that. And that's it. I'm beside myself. I end up, finally, after 3, 4, or 5 years of pounding the streets, this is the one.
Right.
Sunday, I'm telling everybody. That was on Tuesday. We party every night in Hollywood. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's over. We're going to try. And I find out that this guy's a heavyweight. He helped find A&R Records. I mean, I'm Charlie Miner. You got Charlie Miner to bring you to his. So we're all in. Honest to God story. Wake up Sunday morning, getting ready to be suited and booted in Hollywood. I'm going to drive down there. We rented a car. I mean, this is it. Charlie Miner was found shot dead in his Malibu house.
Stop!
Shot dead that morning. It's a true Hollywood story. Look up Charlie Miner.
Wow.
He was a womanizer for years. A young girl goes to Malibu that morning, 21-year-old girl, waits in his closet. No, notice there's people out setting up for a party with the tents. I mean, this is a big deal, okay? He wakes up, she shoots him and kills him.
Son of a bitch.
Dennis left the band after 5 years of work. Yeah. The band, it deflated things.
Is that what brought you back to it?
No, then there was a lull. That's what got me my independent deal to make the album in '99. Yeah. It was like I got it. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it
was like the air was let right out of the balloon.
If that didn't happen, I had to hang on because that's all I could believe in. I mean, I don't have a lot of other talent. And I mean, let's face it. So it's like, I remember I'm living in the Hollywood Hills, and I became friends with Dan Aykroyd's brother a lot. Peter Aykroyd was a good friend of mine. He says, Joe, you got to keep going, man. And I moved into this little apartment, and I had a beat-up car, and I'm like, Dennis is gone. I broke up with the girlfriend. I mean, it was a lull. You know, it's like, oh, my God, I'm going to have to go back. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. And I went to the pawn store. I bought a $60 guitar, and I wrote the whole first album in this little beat-up apartment. And a guy came out of the blue, and he says, I like your stuff. I don't know. I can't remember. And he was a Rochester native. His name was Al Marino, and he had a lot of money in that independent label called Hun Dynasty Records. He goes, I'll finance your whole album, and here's $10,000 to tie you over till we get going. It's my pleasure because you paid your dues. And we started to do that. And that was another breath of life.
Sure.
You know, that could have been like...
And then Party of Five and the Restless.
That was early, but, you know... I had Bill, after all the things that we did together, and that's why I feel we're kin in starting our careers, even though we've already had careers, and I want to be a supporter of this, and I mean this completely. It's not out of desperation at all that I say this. Me personally, the last 10 or 15 years, my career has been on hold for myself. Yeah. I was here locally, and I don't ask for a pat on the back, or I don't want any glory for it. I had been gone from my family so long that when I got back here, I really realized they needed me here. And my grandmother was ill, and then my uncle, I took care of him. And then all of a sudden, I was going to take couple of years. Now it's 5 years. But what I did that kept me going is all doing those years is, you're in Rochester, New York. I did every show. I played every stage you could play here. I've been on the Eastman Theater, and I've played in front of 3 people, too. Yeah. I did all the radio shows I could.
You did,
Tried to do all that kind of stuff.
Well, listen, I mean, not to take away. You have heavyweights. like Steve Gadd, who's played with Paul Simon, Eric Clapton, and Steely Dan to come on your albums. You've had Tony Levin, and Steve lived here for a number of years. But Steve Gadd doesn't need to come on Joey Bricato's album.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what he said. You're exactly right, and see, that's what I think you're bringing out. It's like I'm at a psychological. I'm at a psych. What do they call that when you go see a psychiatrist? This is helping me out.
Is what they call it.
Yeah. It's like I feel like I'm healing today. No, Steve Gadd has been playing with me now. And you're right. And I don't say this with bravado either. I say it happily because we're doing more work now. I just did this last year. I did 10 tracks with Tony Levin alone.
Right.
Just this year.
Well, Tony Levin's a bass player that people may not know, but Gabriel King Crimson. I mean, I think he's played with James Taylor and Paul Simon.
And here's the one thing that people
and he's
don't know.
an Eastman School of Music grad. I don't know. Is Steve an Eastman School guy too?
Yes.
Okay. So the ties are here, but I mean.
They wouldn't play with any.
No, the guy was on tour. Well, Tony Levin's a weird cat. Because Tony Levin would get on a private jet and go play Europe with Peter Gabriel, and then come back and jump in the back of a van and go up the coast of California.
Exactly right.
King Crimson. And he didn't give a shit. It was just about the music for him.
He's a true artist. He really is.
It's just about the music for Tony Levin.
Let me tell you a funny Gadd story, because he, to me, is the most successful musician, and he'll always be my hero musician out of Rochester, no matter what I accomplish or anybody else accomplishes. For me, he's just an amazing. He even told me, he goes, if I was coming up, I wouldn't be Steve Gadd. And he had a lot of time to do it. Yeah. His life, that marching thing, that's very strange. It makes him so unique. So when I got the funding to do the second album free, his wife was a fan, Carol, who I love dearly. They now live out in Phoenix, and I had her over a party at my house. I was living in a really nice house here on Terrace Estates. My friend owned it, and I was renting from him. And I threw a party, and she came because she liked the music, even before Steve did some of my original stuff. I go, I got some money. I don't have Paul Simon wages to pay your husband, but can I want him to play on a couple of my songs. She goes, well, listen, Joey, here's his number. I'll put in a good word for you. I can't make him do anything that he doesn't want to do. So I waited. She goes, but don't take it personally. He's not going to call you for weeks. He just doesn't do it. Don't take it personally. So I waited a couple of weeks. I called her back. This is a funny story, Bill. That's why I'm telling you. You'll get a kick out of this. Happened right here in Rochester, how it began with me and Gadd, and then Levin, too. She goes, I go, listen, Carol, it's been a couple of weeks. I want to talk to the guy. She goes, Joey, he's out mowing the lawn in the backyard. Here's the address. Now the guy I'm living with.
Wait, she let you come to their house?
Yeah, she says, come over. Bring your guitar. Now the guy I'm living with, he's loaded up with cash. He's got I got my pick of cars. He's got an Escalade. And I look over in the corner, he's got a Jaguar convertible. I said, let me look this good. And it's summer. So I put the top down, put the car like I'm...
XJ6?
Whatever it was. I put the guitar like he's a person, strap him in. Drive over. He's in the back mowing the lawn. He had a house in East
around the corner. Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yep.
So all of a sudden, I see her out the window. He goes, he's in the back. Strap on the guitar.
Steve.
Yeah. I walk back. He's mowing the lawn. He goes like this. He jumps. And he knew me. He goes, I know you. That was his first ride. Because we had run into each other. We never did any work at that point.
Yeah. Do you know your dad?
He did know my father.
Yeah, sure.
So he turned off the thing. He goes, what's the point? What are you doing here? So
you tell him it's his wife's fault?
I'm recording an album, and I want you to play on it. And, I can't pay you your highest rate,
sure.
But I got, I had 30, 40 grand. I could pay him some.
You could pay him Steely, but not Steely Dan.
I can pay him Steely. He'll make a few G's.
Sure.
So he goes, well, play me one. And I played three.
I mean, again, this is another one of these ballsy things that you go, I can't show up at Steve Gadd's house.
I didn't even think twice
That's
about
what I'm saying. We need to live like that. If this is what you want to do, all in, baby. That's what it's got to be. That's why I think
we love each other.
Yes.
So you're hitting it out of the ballpark there, Bill. Really. So he goes, but here's the funny turn on him, because he's also, So I go. I play. He said play one. Well, I played 5. Okay, I didn't stop. I didn't even stop to go into the.
You just transitioned
it
next to
went
next.
1 to 2 to 3. So he couldn't get out of it. And I got him in the corner of the yard. You know? If I'm going down in the blaze of glory, and I'll hop in that Jaguar and I'll go have a good time somewhere else.